The Niners not knowing the overtime rules.
Wild.
For 2 weeks, all we kind of talked about was how old school and how prepped these teams are and how prepared they are for, every possible scenario. If they score a touchdown, does the entire sideline spread onto the field?
Yeah, it would have been awesome. Would have been fantastic.
That's what it feels like it was going to happen if that were to happen.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to think that there is a chance that we could have witnessed some history, which would have been the San Francisco 49ers charging the field after not winning the game. McCole Hardman, to his credit, did not know that they won the Super Bowl either.
He did not.
Patrick Mahomes told the story afterwards in one of the post-game. Mm-hmm. It was wild post-game, trying to bounce from NFL Network to ESPN. CBS put on some terrible TV show.
They did.
Immediately afterwards, and then they were still doing a show, though.
Right.
Tracker?
I don't
Tracker,
know.
yeah.
I have no idea
Great.
how all of that goes. But, trying to find the clips and whatever, Patrick Mahomes told a story about McCole Hardman didn't even – this is Patrick Mahomes here. What's that? No, I don't need the overtime rules. Patrick Mahomes told McCole Hardman that basically, hey, you just won the Super Bowl. He had to tell him after he threw the touchdown to him. McCole said, I blacked out. I had no idea. What a moment for the Kansas City Chiefs. What a story for the NFL to be able to chit-chat about how we have another team that is potentially going to lead us for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is only 28 years old. Already won a start. Hey, you just won a Super Bowl. You just won a Super Bowl, he was telling him right there. Did not know. Now there's 3 seconds left in the first overtime. A lot of people wondering why you're even keeping time.
Sure.
Why is there even a clock on this entire overtime situation? That's a conversation for another day. One half of the Hammer, Dahn. Cowboys Tone Diggs is your tone. The books did not want the Chiefs and the over to hit. How do we feel about the way the NFL ended the season? Tone Diggs.
Yeah, the books got cleaned out with the Chiefs winning there. Obviously, all the big bets were coming in were on the Niners, but the majority of the money, like the public money, was just a landslide of Chiefs money. So they got crushed there, but then they kind of helped out, or not helped out. I don't know if it was an under game. The entire game was an under game. You go to overtime and it lands on 47 and almost goes over, so it goes under there. So the books are there, but the books got crushed by the Chiefs,
which we love. Hey, this year we saw 80%er hit against the books. We saw a 70-some% hit against the books. And last night in the biggest game, they kept saying, need the Niners to win for the books. The books need the Niners to win. And if the script was how it was supposed to be, you would think that the sports books would have quite a say in the script. But Taylor Swift gets a Super Bowl.
That's right.
Dan, were you surprised afterwards to hear the difference between the Chiefs, how dialed in they were to hold the overtime situation and what their plan was compared to the Niners and the players, some of them not really exactly knowing, obviously, what their plan was and even knowing what the overtime rules were in the playoffs?
Yeah, I was shocked. Number one, their head coach has, been in the only overtime in Super Bowl history. Obviously, Kyle with the Falcons and the Patriots. So the fact that he experienced it. Two, the rule changed 2 years ago, and I think everybody that is a fan of the NFL or plays in the NFL knows why that rule got changed in regards to Patrick and Josh Allen and whatnot. So, I'm kind of shocked, or Brady. I'm kind of shocked that those guys don't know the at least some capacity of the rule. And I was talking to Jeff Saturday because obviously Jeff coached in the NFL last year for a brief period of time. I was like, don't you think that's something where, when that rule change happens, you guys know these meetings sometimes throughout the season, team meetings become so repetitive, and you try to find ways to have meetings in a different capacity. And so I'm shocked that they didn't have somebody, at least to our knowledge right now, drum up some of these different rules or rule changes to make sure that everybody knew. So I'm really surprised that, and veterans like Armstead and Juszczyk didn't know. And I was, again, calling the game for, the international feed last night.
Oh, yeah.
Once Kyle took the ball, I immediately turned to Lewis and Fowler. I was like, that's crazy to take the football. And I think, I heard Kyle talk about the analytics and they wanted the ball third. My thought about it is it's very similar to the Dan Campbell kick the field goal, go for it thought for me. The numbers say one thing, they factor, they matter. You have to take into account how you're playing and who you're playing. And Patrick Mahomes had just gone right down the field in regulation, marched right down the field. They didn't get stopped, they just ran out of time. That's how they kicked the field goal to tie it. And your defense was reeling at that point, but also Kansas City's defense was playing fantastic. So you thinking I'm just going to take the ball, march down and get points, I would have never given the ball with 4 downs to Patrick Mahomes. I would have never done that. And that's what you do when you take the ball first.
Yeah, because obviously whenever you have the ball first and you're on your own 25, you have no idea what the other team's going to do. So you might, if it's 4th and 6, obviously punt that ball away because it's smart football. Whenever you're the second person that gets the ball, obviously you're in an advantage because you know exactly what you have to do. Okay, we have to kick a field goal. Well, it's 4-down territory until we get into field goal range. Oh, we have to score a touchdown. Well, it's 4-down territory until we score a touchdown. Mahomes actually chirped about it to NFL Prime Time, who had a phenomenal post-Super Bowl show last night, to Booger and Berman about the NFL rule, overtime rule, and playoffs.
Yeah, we were going to kick if we got it. So, I mean, they let us know what we're going to do so we can go for it on that 4th down. Now, we talk about those situations all the time. I mean, we changed the rules, so, I mean, we can execute them on both ways. I don't know how they're going to change it this time.
I love that. A little confidence, a little moxie, a little swagger, and some football IQ in there, which is exactly what Patrick Mahomes has displayed since he got in there. But, yeah, they had a 4th down where they had to pick it up. And it's like, if they would have won first, do they punt that there?
Yeah.
And then what happens with the Niners coming down, especially with Jake Moody, who just hit a 55-yard field goal? It's just like, you want to be second, and I understand playing for the 3rd possession, but you think Patrick Mahomes is going to let that thing get to a 3rd possession? I'm not 100% sure to your point,
that's the
Dan.
thing. And, Pat, I think there was another very similar situation and location on the field, I want to say in the 3rd quarter, where they had 3rd and 1. I think it was like their 2nd or 3rd drive of the 3rd quarter. They have 3rd and 1. They don't get it, and it gets to like 4th and half a yard. And in my gut, I was like, I wonder if Andy Reid goes for this just because to try to generate some juice. And he punted the ball in that situation as well. So I truly believe if the situation's reversed and they have that 4th and 1 and they're the first team with the ball, because their defense was playing so great for Kansas City, I would have guessed in overtime they punt the football away. So that you just don't give. That's why who you play matters. You do not give an all-time great coach and quarterback 4 downs in that situation.
Well, I think he punted too because Tommy Tanzu.
Oh, yeah,
nukes.
Absolute nukes. Punter should have won MVP last night, potentially. Patrick doesn't have the walk down the field game tie.
Sure.
Walk down the field game win.
Yeah.
In back-to-back series. Patrick Mahomes proves he's Patrick Mahomes. Might have a punter, or kicker as the MVP last night. And that's how people were judging the game. They said, this game stinks. If it's a specialist bowl, I didn't see it that way. I thought it was beautiful. Connor has a question for you as Ty takes a shit.
Yeah, Orlovsky, bringing up Jets fans. That's kind of how the Niners fans feel. I mean, I saw a lot of dejected fans on the X last night. When you look at that team, I mean, there was one point when they were introducing the starting lineups and their skill positions come across the board, and all of them are all pro except for Debo, and people can make the argument that he's damn near the best one, and they're all pro. So like, if you're a Niners fan today and you're looking at the season and looking forward, like where do they even get better? Like how do you take a team like the Niners that essentially feels as though it is one of, if not the most stacked lineups in all of football, and say like, yeah, we can add pieces here, and here to get better while still paying all of the superstars that we have?
Yeah, I don't. There's obviously not massive holes on that football team. I can make the case that Kansas City was better on both sides of the line of scrimmage last night. I think one of the big takeaways was how physical Kansas City's defensive line and dominant at the line they were in comparison to San Francisco as that game went on. And so, again, I don't think there's a ton of holes outside of maybe you look to improve your offensive line play just a little bit. Obviously, Trent is one of the, if not the best left tackles in all of football. So, I don't know if you sit there and go, we are this piece away. You're as talented as anybody in football on the perimeter, and your defense, while they didn't play up to their level this year, expectation-wise, they were really good for the great majority of that game last night. So it's a feeling that's got to be just dejected because so close again, and the quarterback play was even improved in comparison to 2019 Super Bowl, and yet still wasn't enough.
Did you hear that, AJ?
Someone's throttling Dan, huh?
Dan, you're getting throttled over there.